Hi everybody, today we're here with Andrew Booth and he's just starting an incredible change in his journey. And what I want to know is, why did you choose to change your career to health and fitness from what you did before?
Okay. I think there were so many times that I'd had accidents in sports and things growing up, and then again as an adult. And late last year, I was hit by a car. I was on the side of the road and got hit by a car, and I was concussed. And yet again, I'd had this bad luck of getting seriously injured, and I spent about 7 weeks in bed. And when I could finally get out of bed and get up and get going, I went, right, I'm going to the end of the street and back. I'm getting up and getting going, and I was sort of staggering around like a toddler, and I made it just barely to the gate and back to the front door, and just realised how much it impacted me. I put on a pot belly, and as I got back into rebuilding my health, and I did so rapidly, I found myself in 3 months' time with young athletes in their prime training to be personal trainers, and beating them because we had to compete. So there was no choice but to compete, and I was beating them, and they were a bit surprised at how rapidly I'd gone from where I was at. And so what really happened is, I thought, well, there's something, it's like, is the universe trying to send me a message, that I've always had this passion for health. I grew up in a family who was all about health, and I'd gone off in a different career, and I'd built skills with business systems and analysing. I was a great business analyst, and so really what I found myself is that I'd grown disenfranchised with the line of work I was in, where I was so often working long hours, in the rat race, and some of the companies I was helping, I didn't know that they were such a worthy cause for what they were doing to health, turning the world into diabetics with their lolly water drinks and what have you. And so I sort of came to realise, as I was rehabilitating and doing so successfully, that I could turn my misfortune into a message and inspiration for others, and to help others. Because what I was hearing around me is, it's time to slow down. I've been told to myself and so many others, time to slow down. You're getting older now, you're turning 50. Those joints are worn out. And I can remember even when I was younger, when I got hit by a car. Again, I was sitting going downhill, flat out training to be a professional athlete. And I got told after I got hit by the car and I got seizures from the whiplash, and that, you'll probably never ride your bike again. And what I was finding is that people were being given a lot of negative feedback. They weren't being empowered. They were being treated on the side as if they were the patient and the victim, and poor you, and sort of not empowering you and not putting you in control of your life and your health. Because in the end, where does the healing come? It comes from within. Your body does the healing. A doctor might be able to set a bone or whatever, they can help, but in the end, it's you who does the healing. It's you who's in charge of your health. And
that was such a wonderful point, actually, that you made.
It's emotional for me because I've had a lot of success with this. I've had a lot of experience through my life, and so I can turn my misfortune into a win, and help other people with their rehabilitation and their passion for health. And so I want to do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah, and that's a really good point that you made in the about how your choice makes everything move in the direction that you choose it to move, whether you choose to be the victim or you choose to be empowered and move forward to repair and help others through it. And that's the thing. Yeah.
It makes what happened to me um, you know, a an experience that helped build me skills and to help others. Because it's not just something I've learned; it's something I've lived.
Yes.
Yeah. So I've
Yeah.
been in there with the osteopaths, the chiros, the physios, the orthopedic surgeons. You name it. I've experienced a lot of these rehabilitations in my time myself, and tried out a lot of things. Talked to a lot of experts, and so. But what I'm really good at, Shona, is uh, over 20 years building world-class business systems. I'd go into a $100 billion organization who was best in the world at X, and
Mm.
we would build their systems, better again. We would do business transformation projects. And I would go into those businesses and I would identify the oversights, the opportunities. I would talk to people at all levels in the organization and help to bring together more in business processes and systems that would empower them to achieve what they needed, what their goal was. I can cross those skills over now into building a wonderful system for people to take charge of their health
That's so fabulous.
and set their health on fire. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, because
this is
it's such a wonderful combination. And actually, when you look at it from what you said before, and when you think that you said you went on a track that was so different, and actually, ultimately, it's not any different, merely because you've just enhanced
yes,
what the fitness through what you've learned through business. And now you're combining the two wonderful elements to take out there and help other people. So, you talked about rehabilitation. Um, what is your total personal experience on rehabilitation and your
okay.
change?
So I've broken at least 10 bones in my body. Most of this happened when I was younger, doing sport and putting myself out there on the edge. As a young person, I I put my heart and soul into sports. I had rugby with my two front teeth smashed, and I had when I was young and 14, I could get the ball off anyone. And so there's some guys about 6'10", and I was just a little guy in the school yard. I was still very small, just young at secondary school, and he was in his last year. And so I ripped the ball off him and got him out. And the second time I did it, he was so frustrated, he picked me up and threw me on the ground. And I had 3 breaks in my legs and a ripped tendon sheath down the side. And and we could see from the X-ray that had it gone any further, the foot would have been flat and the bone sticking out. But it took 6 months for that tendon sheath to repair, and I was in there, water hydrotherapy and wobble boards and everything. And it took patience and time for that to heal. Um, and so that was one of the experiences. The I was in a car accident at 2 years old. And then when I was 17, there was this time when I was going down the hill by a car and I had seizures. And suddenly people saw me as this label, you are a disability, and all that goes with that. And then feeling sorry for me and treating me different. I was no longer Andrew. I was um, you know, epilepsy, and had to be treated carefully, sort of thing. And so I went through those experiences of pain management, of trying to get healing, of not knowing where you're at and where it's going, finding difficulties in mainstream health, finding what worked in mainstream health, looking at other supportive ways to help you with your health. So I actually had apart from being hit by a car last year where my hip was crushed in and I had bad concussion. So I experienced a lot there about the effects of concussion and sleeplessness. I've had adrenal fatigue where I was on projects, brought in late to rescue projects running late, and being scheduled to work 110 hours a week, where you leave home at 4, start at 5 a.m., finish at PM 7 days a week, and they're bringing breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And in the end, you know, 72 hours straight at go live because the project has been mismanaged, and not letting it fail, wouldn't let it fail despite the mismanagement. And experiencing doing projects like that for months and months and months, where you get adrenal fatigue, and discovering how you go out after the project's over and go and do some exercise, and that your body doesn't recover like it normally does, and it takes sometimes 6 months to get through adrenal fatigue. So there's been lots of broken bones, adrenal fatigue, concussion, epilepsy, having to regain my balance. There's been a lot of just sort of flesh wounds and issues to do with muscle imbalances. I had a shoulder injury where the bursa was getting caught through its tracking, and that fixed up. I had a knee problem where I only had 15 degrees range of motion one year, and another time, and the knee was all gritty, and I had like a big, behind the back of the knee, a big sort of bulging, it would have been like a cyst sort of pack in there, and the orthopedic surgeon said, "Oh, well, it's not quite ready for surgery yet, probably next year. There's not much we can do." And of course, there was a lot I could do. And progressively, 9 months later, changing my nutrition, a lot of mobilization, a lot of patience, getting it right, I could run freely without pain in 9 months. And that knee was on its way towards bone on bone. And so the point here is that there really is a lot we can do about our health. Age is a number. If you get into great health, you'll age very slowly. You'll age very slowly, and you can. I have the health I had when I was very fit in my 20s. I found in competitions I'm beating 20-year-old personal trainers who've been athletes, career athletes. And it's great to have that energy and freedom. It's great to have that mobility back in my knees. And there was one time I had where, I don't know if you can call it a coma, but it was 12 hours blacked out after a double grand mal seizure, where the impact was brain damage. I couldn't remember to have my pills. I wasn't aware that my personality had changed. So luckily we've got stem cells in our brains, and you can rebuild. And I'd lost a lot of my medium-term memory. People would speak to me and I didn't know them. They said, "Well, I only just worked on a project with you a couple of years ago. What are you talking about, Andrew?" And so I felt embarrassed. Are they telling me the truth? Is this real? And so I've had that as well. So I've had some different experiences, all of which I've successfully rehabilitated from. And whilst everyone's experience and injuries and accidents and setbacks are different, often that experience can be helpful for others. And what I'm finding in analysing the health industry is there's great gaps and opportunities to bring more together, which I'd love to talk about, but I'm getting off topic when I go into that. So,
okay.
Does that give an idea of some of the things?
Yeah, I mean, what he's sharing with us is really, really wonderful. And one of the things that is really coming forward through it is the power of mindset and belief. And no matter what people say to you, that if you have in your mind that you are going to be successful, that you're going to achieve, no matter what anybody says, even medical professionals, if you believe yourself that you can overcome and achieve something, then you will. And that's really a message that's come through with what you've said.
It can start out with this awful shock of, oh my goodness, where am I? They're telling me, I might not be able to, ride my bike. They're telling me that, my life's now limited, that I am a disability. It sort of starts out like that, and then there's sort of hope. And yes, you turn that into a belief where It's not that I believe, it's actually I know. I know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you've taken belief to the level where you know you're going to get better, that you're going to get this back, and you're not going to give up, and you're going to have the patience, and you're going to do what you need to do to get there. And getting there isn't, easy. To get, a joint that's sore and painful, to get its mobilization going, you need to not just leave it. You need to actually work through that pain. And you don't need to ignore that pain. You need to be sensible. You need to work through that pain. You need to be willing to go through that, to do what it takes. And it's at some point you've gone from hope to where you absolutely know, and it
Yeah.
happens. And you get
Yeah.
there.
It's been knowing so wonderful. Yeah.
It isn't a cakewalk, but it's worth it. And there is ways to rapidize that too. There really is.
Yes. Yeah. And, as you're now moving into the field where you're helping others, that will be one of the things that you will assist others in, to get that mindset,
It's
that
about them
knowing.
and them arriving at it. It's not about
Yeah.
you telling them. It's not about they're your patients and you're telling them what to do. It's not about you at all. It's about them
Yeah.
and them taking charge and what they feel, they believe in about their healing and their journey, the way that they want to lead themselves. Because
Yeah.
unless they're at the helm, it's disempowering.
Yeah.
They're the one who does the healing. You're just there to serve. You're just there to serve.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And
That's the
that's how
beauty.
any health
That's
system, that's how any personal trainer, any allied health professional should be.
Yeah. And that's what I'm personally loving about doing this summit, is that the people that are coming forward are just so humble and just serving hearts for all humanity. And that's, and it's such a joy to see you all and put you out there.
It is,
So
because love's at
yeah,
the center of all of this,
yeah,
It's like, you go right back to when the baby's in the womb, and then suddenly there's this spark in the heart and it starts beating. Or the baby that was born and it was still, and the mother hugs it, and suddenly it coughs and comes to life. It's love that heals.
yes, yes,
It's a number of things. It's love. It is that belief. It is that knowing, and it is that tapping into, um, you know, something almost magical.
yeah. And all these beautiful sharings that you've just put out there, let's make it really clear as to the beautiful package that you are, and why would someone choose you and your service for them?
So let's look. I'm coming into this initially from as a personal trainer. Traditionally, the industry of personal trainers was, a bunch of bodybuilders. Typically male bodybuilders. Sort of Neanderthal meathead. Some of them, taking steroids and so on, and so they come up with this program. Oh, lift these weights, made me big strong. You get big strong too. But personal training's gone a long way from there. The training that they have now is a lot about the integration with allied health, but they haven't built the integration in very well. I want to address that. My organisations across the globe where they've got 100,000 staff, these functional silos, these separate businesses. The biggest challenges in businesses, were two things: communication, and the other one was the integration of different expertise which had their own goals. And inevitably I found that the best thing you could do was to improve that integration so that everyone's a team to serve the individual, the client, because it's all about this client getting what they need and their result, and everything's got to flow to serve to that. So So I'm going to build a system that helps do that, because I've looked at and paid for and used and tested, you know, I don't know, maybe hundreds of the best systems that are out there for personal trainers, and they'll have this focus like, oh, you know, we'll specialize training in case you're a mesomorph, you know, a endomorph. You know, they'll look at one aspect or a couple of aspects, and someone else will go, oh, we'll work with that. You're more fast twitch or you're more slow twitch. You know, someone else will give you a program that's really designed for someone who's advanced, but you're just beginning. And so what I want to do is make a system there that assesses where are you at, what are your goals, what are your preferences. Why would I get you in the gym if you hate going in the gym? What is it that works for who you are, that you can be passionate about, that's going to keep you consistent working on your health? And so it looks at who you are. I want to put together a world-class, the best assessment tool out there, and make that available so that dynamically deals with the individual and with all of these important assessments. Let's look at nutrition, a key thing here. You know, one person can eat rice and it turns straight to fat. Someone else can eat rice, it doesn't turn to fat. The key thing there is the insulin spike. You know, this is one of the key things with, you know, fat loss and putting on fat, is what are the foods that cause an insulin spike for you? And so you can look at all of these different things, all of these foundational. I mean, if you work the foundations hard in any organization, you're going to be better than 95% of all of the other organizations out there just by getting the foundations right, because everyone's looking at rocket science, or they're looking off on one aspect. It's like if you've got a house and it's built on, you know, shifting sand, or you've got a foundation missing, so it's going to fall down. You need to get all the foundations right. You need to bring it all together, all of the key things, and none of the hype. See, I've seen people out there and they're selling all these nutrition products, and honestly, they're spending a whole lot of money for stuff that really isn't going to make much difference. And so, you know, what I'll be providing is, here's the actual research. Is this being peer reviewed? How strong is the result seen to be? How reliable is the result? You know, it just brings it down to you know, the basic facts, black and white, none of this hype. And what we'll do is get people, what you don't measure, you can't manage. And so you get people measuring and managing and leading their journey of health to a joyous experience. And so a system that does all of that, and by considering all of the questions, and then what I also want to bring in later on is, well, I'll probably talk to clients later about the other things that I want to bring in, but I really want to empower them, because there's a lot of health professionals out there that, you know, aren't doing things right. And so be able to get good references from other users and from other experts in the field, and so that they can make a wise choice. If they can go through there and say, oh, I've got this particular injury here, who can I see? I've got the orthopedic surgeon, the osteopath, the chiro, the physio, the massage therapist, the acupuncture, and so on. Which one do I choose? To be able to put to them the key information to help them in their choice. Because if we just rely on our GP, if we just rely on everyone else, what's more important than our health? Our health is an enabler for everything. We can think more clearly, we can have more energy in our day, we can be there for others. So we need to take enough interest. But what we can't be done is hose down with heaps of information. We need concise information, just what we need now for what we're wanting to do. We're not going to dump information on people. Why look at the icing on the cake when what we're deciding is actually, we don't even want a cake right now. You know, let's look at what we do want. We've got a mobility issue, a muscle imbalance issue, or whatever it is. Let's look at that. So it's really about giving people what they need, when they need it, concise, and the right support. So, yeah. Here we go. I think my video's back on again. I don't know why it went off. Yeah.
Wonderful. you offer amazing service. Many people are looking for what you offer, because it's honest, it's sincere, and it's the right information. And
It's what's
is there
worked.
anything?
It's all about
Yeah, it's got
what has
work.
worked.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else that you want to add from what you've said?
Um, I'd just like to say again that 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 you you are the one who does the healing. You
Mm.
are in charge of your own health,
Yeah.
and make your health a beautiful thing. I'll give an example. A simple example. My mother, a couple of years ago, when she was 75, she went out on a wine tour on a bike with a friend who was also looked after their health all their life. And she goes out and she climbs up, mountains, and she lives with a lot of freedom in her older age. I honestly believe that, without too much misfortune, that a lot of people can get in another 10 years of great health in their life. So most people are living longer these days. We're keeping people alive, but a lot of them, are struggling in pain, and they've, got bad joints, and they've got other issues, and they're taking all sorts of drugs and things. And a lot of these things have side effects. And uh, it's a wonderful thing that if you can get people in their middle age time, and often it starts with a setback, uh, to then jump forward and get to excellent health, and then to hold on to that and give themselves, 65 to 75, incredible health, the freedom to enjoy their health. And I want to be a big part of helping make that happen. And I think a lot of it too is, there's so much you can do yourself, and I want to make that available, and and increasingly more of it freely available too. Um, but there's so much information out there, and there's a minefield of what does work, what doesn't, what's too expensive, and I just want to try and get together in one place those foundations that'll work for people, that start with what they can do themselves now. And if people are interested in giving that a go, come give it a go, and please take charge of your health. It's so worth it to put in some work to hold on to great health. It's a wonderful enabler. Care for yourself, show yourself some love, and set your health on fire. That's me. Thanks, Hannah.
Oh, it's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Andrew, for spending time with us to share you and your service to humanity, which is wonderful. If people want to connect with Andrew, they can see all his information on the website. It's a toughworldoutthere.com. Thank you again, Andrew.
Yeah, sorry, it's called Set Your Health on Fire.
Yeah, that's your website. Great stuff. Wonderful, Andrew.
Thank you very much. Cheers.